It's been quite the road here in DreamHack Austin leading up to this very moment. One map left between Cloud9 and Naventic. The two titans here of America clash and they go even. 2-2 with one map left. It's all come down to this, ladies and gents, and overall, it's been a long day. It's been a long 2 days. It has for these teams. And they have fought, I heard Cloud9 hasn't eaten yet as well, so they are still fighting. So overall, what map is it again?
Cursed Hollow.
Cursed Hollow.
Cursed Hollow. In fact, we can check in with the map order, of course, to kind of confirm exactly where we are at the moment throughout this best-of-5 grand final, as we did have those two vetoes up towards the top. We had Tomb of the Spider Queen going over to Team Naventic, Sky Temple won by Cloud9, then Towers of Doom up by Cloud9, and of course, Battlefield of Eternity, Team Naventic was able to be victorious. And now we end up on Cursed Hollow, where it all comes to a conclusion. That one was a bit back and forth, really, but for the most part, Naventic was in control. You switched at just the right time with your wristband. Have you taken it off yet? Yes.
Oh!
Whoa! Dread.
You're like the groundhog.
I mean, I
Yeah.
guess
Have you
at
seen
this
your
point,
shadow?
Yeah, it's just like, no, for me it's, well, that last map, I know that Naventic is, I've always felt like they're the better team realistically there. I just feel like Cloud9, okay, so like when it comes to the mentality and like the view when it came from Naventic side, it was like, well, Rexar is the reason we're losing these games.
Yeah.
And then they took them about 3 more losses or 2 more losses, and they were like, actually, it turns out it's Tyrande. And obviously that map accents it. I don't think they're gonna let it go through in this next one, and that's the only time. If Tyrande is available and Cloud9 has it, they win. If not, every single game Naventic has won. So I am putting my entire next prediction on, does Cloud9 have Tyrande?
All the chips.
All just, you know, I mean, I don't have that many because I've been losing most of these predictions.
That's true.
But, I mean,
Both of us.
The one chip you have,
yeah.
it's all on this.
My one eSports dollar right there.
Okay.
Do you think that they would run Rexar without Tyrande?
I think if they did, it's just not going to be impactful enough to matter.
Okay.
Especially in Cursed.
Well, let's take a look at the map. Of course, we haven't really seen much Cursed Hollow here on the main stage. Gilly, why don't you take it away?
I would love to, James. Here is Cursed Hollow with 3 lanes, and the objective is to capture the tributes. If you can capture 3 of them, you will curse your opponent. What does this mean? Well, curse means that the structures won't attack and minions have 1 hit point. So it's a great time for you to be able to siege down those structures or even force your opponent to defend versus things like mercenary camps while you do other things like pick up one of the 2 bosses that are available. These bosses are in pretty terrifying locations. There's a lot of counterplay between them. That's often how you win the game, is off of being able to secure one of those bosses.
For sure. We see a lot of Tyrael coming along here. We like our Tyraels. We have the book, we have the box. You were saying?
I do, especially on this map. It's some of the plays that we see, you know, the holy ground. We also see a lot of Falstad trying to get those boss kills because they are so valuable on this map.
Yeah, the false stats, just anything with zoning is really big too. Around, outside of those is a line, so Sundering can come into play. We've seen more Thrall. Maybe we'll see more for this match too.
I'm just trying to think about the draft already. Okay. Out the gates. So in the last game, Naventic was 2nd pick, and they were able to get Kael'thas, which honestly was absurdly influential. Obviously, Illidan as well. C9, they aren't afraid to play Illidan, but it's not one of their go-to picks. So right out the gates, I expect Tron is going to be removed by Naventic. They're just going to remove it. If TAS is going to be the consistent ban, knowing of the win rate on the side of C9, then I feel like that gives Kael'thas already to Naventic, which has been insanely influential out the gates.
Right.
And so I just want to know how well the control is going to go down, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we are getting into the draft for our next game. In fact, it's not just our next game, it is our final game of the night, of the tournament. Let's jump into it. Tyrande already go down as the ban, and then Kael'thas being hovered.
So I like the idea because they realize the task ban is not as effective on Cursed Hollow, but I feel like Illidan is going to be an instant pickup for Naventic, and then we've talked about the Tassadar situation many a time.
But they, yesterday, had Naventic first pick Illidan, and then they picked Tasmura. They ended up winning that game. It was on towers, but maybe that's the plan again, knowing that.
That could be the case.
Or it could be Tas.
Now they went over to Li Ming, though, for the ban.
They do go to Li Ming. I think Naventic will actually take kill thoughts over Illidan, just because it's literally been who gets hit by a hard CC, dead. That has been the story of this best of 5. Literally, just who gets the best single target blow.
The damage is too influential.
I mean, the question is, one of the things that we noticed, we've talked about the rotation of the players on different heroes. We saw Zuna, but we are going to see Kel'Thas first pick Illidan here, Dred.
I actually really don't like that. I love Illidan, obviously, on this map, and I think he's very high value. I just feel like Cloud9, it isn't successful unless they get a single target, just blow up. And guess what? They give him the option to.
This early telegraphed, they have just a wealth of opportunity to say, right, we don't like you, Illidan. Welcome to Muradin land. Welcome to even us taking Tassadar here and being able to force wall him in odd positions, being able to slow him with reverb, etc.
Dred, I asked you a question yesterday about Illidan and Tassadar. If you get Tassadar with Illidan, that's a huge win. But I also asked you about stealing Tassadar, denying it first off. You didn't like that either.
I don't love it, but I think it's a must-have here. You can't give it up. Right now, with how influential he's been, I don't think you can. I don't think it's the greatest in the world, but when you have Kel'Thas, you don't really need that extra damage. So because he wasn't banned out, which typically you see, I feel like it's great for them. I'm not surprised Kel'Thas Tassadar. I think Muradin or ETC, whatever Naventic specifically wants, or maybe prioritizing one of the 2 healers, they'll typically go down that chokehold.
We've been talking about it over and over again, the lack of Dahaka in these games. Is this map big enough? Is this map right?
Please.
I don't think Dahaka necessarily fits as well with Illidan, but obviously Cloud9 still has a choice. Muradin's still on the board. I feel like there's so much. These teams have drafted so well. 4 games in a row. We're at number 5. I expect nothing but perfection out of these 2 drafts.
Yeah, and I would love some Dahaka play. One thing about Drag is a lot of people think about it as hook. Yes, you can try to get someone from the back line and pull them forward, but another great thing is if you have blow up, like for instance in Kel'Thas, you use Drag as just a method of not letting someone escape from that damage.
It's true.
You use the Drag, damage starts going down, gravity laps to follow up, and then they blow somebody to pieces.
Is Abathur going to be picked for Naventic? And if so, is it going to be picked now because they're fearful of Cloud9 banning it out?
I would love to see it.
I would too. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I figured they would actually only opt to take a tank or a support, not both, in one rotation here.
Maybe they're looking to be a little bit more flexible with that pick to see if it gets through, and then they'll feel more comfortable with the pick.
Maybe.
And obviously deny something there, whether Rhaegar, ETC, in their ban. Who will Cloud9 ban? Looking at that composition, definitely
Abby
damage.
is an option. They really don't like it. They typically kind of ban it out. But I don't know if they're going to do that against Naventic specifically, but could be the case.
It's Fan.
Fan known for the Abathur play.
Oh, whoa.
Gray man.
The cycle.
I don't think that would be the man. It is?
Oh. Well, they have actually been coupling up Illidan with Greymane in a lot of their drafts in the past.
How many drafts has that worked on?
I think no. I don't know. I'm not actually sure. I'm not going to look it up straight away. There's a lot of drafts on my page.
Yeah, the Tyrael Greymane didn't go so well.
Yeah, I did not.
Yeah, I see one that they won with that combo. But ETC banned for Naventic since they already have the Muradin. They're just isolating the role of Warrior, forcing Cloud9 for something they may not want to be playing.
The thing
Johanna, something else.
I don't even mind Johanna on here because you know, Shield Glare is actually really good for denying tributes for a while. Even Condemn is not bad.
Actually, I'm really surprised by this. I figured it would be just like going into like a Falstad and just a Thrall, but maybe Cloud9 feels like that's not going to be their best kind of team fight here. Brightwing is a better response to the Illidan. When you have the Tassadar, you don't have the best amount of damage, so you need to make sure you have the best CC pretty much in the entire game outside of Heroics.
But we saw this before as far as the type of engagement. I know Tassadar, you talk about how he has really great single target healing, but is there going to be enough dive? We've seen Naventic get very aggressive with their approach, getting to the back line already. I feel like Cloud9 really needs to solidify and go with some really strong heroes here. Looks like they're hovering Sylvanas right now.
I really like all these counters to Illidan.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really like them. Like, pull him off, slowing him down with Force Wall a little bit, wailing arrow for when he tries to actually just dive straight on in with his Metamorphosis. I'm okay with this so far for them.
It just feels like from the Li Ming ban, from the very beginning, Cloud9 has been in control of this draft. They're saying like, okay, we know they're going to either say, okay, what do we do? Do we get Kael'Thas and then it let Illidan through? Do we get Illidan and let Tassadar Kael'Thas through? It seems to me like they are the ones who have the edge from this.
I want to see Thrall. I want to see somebody who can dive with Illidan. I don't want Illidan to be the only threat. I want somebody who pairs a hard CC force with him. Vala is going to provide the frost shot slow to accent him a little bit better.
Yeah.
Maybe a Rain of Vengeance as an accent, but I just feel like Illidan has struggled when he's the only focus.
Yes.
Every single time, especially with the complex C9s. But if you just have somebody else like a Sundering coming in as well, it just feels like Cloud9 does not have the tools to be able to deal with that.
Yeah, you even called it during the draft before, Kalaris.
I think if this Valor is like the kind of hybrid build where it's getting a little bit of range, you could do the auto attack, of course, but also, as you said, the Rain of Vengeance works so well on the narrow choke points, narrow walkways between all of the lanes, that it is quite scary. And actually, I believe it is definitely the first Valor we've seen on the main stage, right?
Right. 2 were played on the off stage with both of them winning.
Cloud9.
Who's the warrior?
Johanna. Tyrael. I want to see Tyrael. I actually would like to see, I don't think that'll be it, but I would like to see Tyrael only because it's cursed off.
There it is.
Or Dahaka.
Do it.
There it is.
That's interesting.
There it
though.
is.
That is interesting. Solo Warrior Dahaka.
North America. North America.
We don't like that double
We're in
tank.
North America.
We actually, you know, our tanks know how to use the burrow properly with the passive. Yeah,
Yikes.
we don't just die.
The call-outs. Shots fired.
Hold on.
Oh, dear.
One thing that I saw first game a long time ago during the first qualifier of this, it's cute that you burrow with Dahaka, but you can't cancel that.
Gust. Yep.
Mighty Gust isolates Dahaka. That can be a scary moment, Dre.
This is kind of what I wanted to talk about, actually, leading forwards. I feel that Volstad's priority in this draft has been totally neglected until the very end, and I'm not sure if I like it. Again, I feel that Mighty Gust is still an amazing tool here, where he went all the way until second last pick.
Yeah, especially for bosses. You
That's
always
true.
have to think about
That's
the boss
true.
fights. For sure, there's no mosh pit available. ETC was banned out. But Dahaka and Brightwing, a lot of global presence, a lot of ability to soak the lanes and show up unexpected, crash the party, and find somebody, drag them back to your towers, and get those early kills.
My favorite part about Dahaka on this map is the way the terrain is structured a little bit different. It allows for some sneaky angles for Dahaka to really make some plays. They have double global. I like that a lot, but I feel like Naventic got exactly what they wanted out of this round. Dread?
I'm thinking about
The Vala?
obviously, Tyrande is off the table, so I'm already more optimistic about this game. So giving up Kael'Thas, still the playstyle that accents Cloud9, what they've been successful with, and Vala. Is this a strafe? Is this a rain? Is it even going to matter? Because, I mean, I've been... Vala is a hero that has like that one moment where she just ascends and just seems to be like, wow, this is the most broken hero in the game. And then you have other moments where you're like, and why is this hero ever drafted? So I'm afraid this might be a Zagara situation of the last draft where you watch the Vala come into play and suddenly, like, I feel like the mentality is because they have Brightwing and Tassadar, they struggle with AoE damage, but at the same time...
Who gets to the back line on Naventic? Who gets to that back line?
For
Cloud9.
Oh, for this, Dahaka would be the only one to be able to do that in that situation, but I don't know.
I'm not sure myself. This is really, really difficult.
Yeah.
Down to the wire, 5th game. We need predictions from everybody, though, and I'm going to give Dread a little bit of a break, and we can start on this end. I was wrong last map. Damn.
Right!
3-1 so far.
We're 1-3.
I know.
So, let's see. I am going to go with an ambitious Cloud9. Even though I'm not a big fan of your Dahaka solo warrior thing. I'll trust in the heart of the cards for America, I guess. All right, over to you, J-How.
I know Vala's a questionable pick for you. I do. But I don't see how Cloud9 gets to the back on a 5v5 without Dahaka springing up and making something happen. And I've been on the Naventic bandwagon, I guess, all night long. I'm going Naventic here.
I don't think they need to have someone in the back line with the amount of lockdown they have. With Polymorph, Wailing Arrow, Drag, I think it's going to be a Cloud9 here.
Naventic.
It's a tough one. It's so tough, this one.
I am doing this merely because I gave them a lot of faith this whole tournament. Every single time they fought Cloud9, minus the last game, I put my heart in them. And Toronto is not on the map right now, I believe.
You believe.
Although I don't know, I'm really torn on that Kael'Thas choice. To give up the Kael'Thas there, if they lose, I think it's that reason, actually. Just because that's the only place it seems like Cloud9 can play right now.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. We are going into our final game of the tournament here for DreamHack Austin. Once again, get hyped as we go on to game number 5 to determine who our champion will be here in DreamHack Austin. Let's take it away to Gilly and Dread.
I said last game could be the last one, but it's definitely this one because we are tied 2-2 and it's only a best of 5. Can Naventic reclaim the kingship, if you will, of North America that they once had at Heroes Rising, or will Cloud9 maintain control? We're about to find out. In the blue with Fan playing Illidan, Zuna on Falstad, Kenma on Uther, McIntyre playing Muradin, and Big Impact playing Bala. Give it up for Naventic!
The battle begins.
And in the red, iDream on Sylvanas. K1 Pro will be playing Kael'Thas, Arthalon on Tassadar, Dungtrain playing Brightwing, and King Caffeine on Dahaka. Let's hear it for Cloud9!
Well, what are you waiting for?
Already out the gates, let's talk about Vola.
Okay.
I've given my position on how I'm already questioning her, and also look at the Sylv play here a little bit. She's actually on top. They aren't doing too much on the bottom half of the map, but they're gonna feint it looks like. All right, but anyways, she goes into Q build, and I thought the reasoning was gonna be kind of the frost shots where you maximize your W range, get the frost shot. Illidan just chases forever post 13. Probably not going to be the case. It is an option, but I just kind of expected to go otherwise. So we're going to see a Q build most likely coming out of Vola. Maybe it'll be that caster hybrid for maximized damage. Oh my goodness, words are hard. Optimization here at this point.
Okay, I'm excited too. We're at game number 5 between these teams. We got to the final game.
Uh-oh, Dahaka popping up there, Fan. With the double global moving in very aggressive. That was why they feinted the bottom lane. I was confused a little bit at first, but Kenma actually trying to get in a flank here. Timing of his stun is going to be crucial here. iDream, look at, he's positioning himself around his E there. Kenma.
Beautiful body blocks for the drag, pulling Kenma back to the base of the red team. Cloud9 still not quite getting a kill, and Naventic takes first blood.
They did take first blood here. Really well done. The double global popping up, but it wasn't going to be enough here. Naventic has already secured the first kill with a great play coming out from Kenma. I mean, man, that guy, I feel like his Uther has stood out really, really well this tournament. He very much understands the aggression that he can provide to the early game and seems to abuse it as well as he possibly can here. But other than that, nothing too crazy. I want to keep in mind as well, Fan actually going to be in a rough spot. Polymorph coming out, but the counter engage here. Uh-oh, Caffeine maybe in a position here. Stormball's going to be chained up as well, but he will be able to survive.
I like too that if you watch how they engage there, you see a mounted Muradin coming from one bush, a mounted Uther from the other, trying to make sure that they can converge on one point, maximize the time that they have someone stunned. Didn't quite work out for them before, but that's been a constant for them as long as Kenma's been on that Uther, making sure that he's mounted and ready to get the first stun of many for the team.
One thing I want to point out is Mana Addict was picked up by Kael'Thas. And this is a build that has been viable more in the Asian scenes. It's typically done with a very defensive one, speccing more into his passive Verdant Spheres, actually, which is not going to be the case. So worried about the defensiveness later until he gets that quest talent to be completely filled. He will not have that tool to be able to keep himself alive here. But look at the aggression already. McIntyre trying to force something to happen. Brightwing, it looks like she's going to be caught up. Polymorph, it's not going to be enough, but the tribute is going to fall to Sylvanas. Gravity Lapse coming out as well. But Naventic secures the kill, but tribute goes to Cloud9.
Brightwing down for a few more seconds, but she has the phase shift so she can polymorph back in once she is alive yet again. Arcane Barrage, the level 4 talent for her again. We saw that before. It's giving more of a range to the Arcane Flare, allowing her to more safely deny things like altar channels or even tribute channels here.
Yeah, Tassadar is going to be so very hard, or excuse me, Kael'Thas is going to be so very hard to kill when that happens, but it looks like the aggression, Fan trying to come in, not getting the body block, but look at it, he's going to be popping up. King Caffeine coming up with the Dahaka rotations again, trying to capitalize as best as he can. He has done such a great job here in this game to be able to secure the kills here, Gilly, and now they're making up the comeback. Kills are almost dead even, but Tribute going to Cloud9 already.
There's another 1-2. Brightwing staying in the top. DreamHack is there too, but he will probably Brush Stalker in. May choose to run so that he has the Brush Stalker afterward if that is what he wants, just to make sure that he can soak. Or they may just even give this one up as the rotations for both teams fairly slow to get there. But Sylvanas is there trying to start the channel. McIntyre will be the one to deny it until more rotations can come in. But Kael'Thas gets caught in this.
Yeah, Gravity Lapse missed by K1 Pro. Zuna was able to juke it, which ensured the kill there. Now the aggression coming out. Arthalon and Caffeine trying to backing out, but this is going to be a 4 versus 5. Zoning around Zuna because he is low on health. Look at Vala actually zoning Sylvanas as well below. That was really heads-up play coming out from them. And that kill is going to secure a Tribute 1-1 here for Naventic.
1-1 and level 7 to level 7, both teams neck in neck. And man, the play so impressive for these teams considering the fact that this has been such a long day for them and a long series, going all the way to game number 5 between the teams. That can take a toll on you.
It can take a toll on them, and we're in a position to where Naventic has been able to get the Merc pressure onto them. They did get the Giants, now rotating to the Knights, applying the pressure whenever they possibly can. Waveclear is going to be decent on the side of Cloud9, so it's not going to be surprising. And they decide, great, we're going to back out, get some Mercs of our own, take these Giant camp, and see where the map objective is going to spawn, see if we can get a little bit of, you know, that good old luck, and hopefully be split pushing for us.
Looking at the DreamHack build, at level 4 there's a couple of different Essence collections talents you can spec into, but this one will be one who collects, so DreamHack gets 50% more of that. Actually, hold on thought, because we're going to have a fight. Gravity Lapse hits McIntyre, who's going to Dwarf Toss in with a great Stormbolt, trying to stop him from catching him. King Caffeine is nearly there, but the rotation from Naventic saving him, taking out Sylvanas.
But the drag is going to actually hit Kenma, but he's not taking any damage. The minions, the Night Camp that they captured actually soaked all the shots out of the mid lane, so they are not needing to worry about the damage there. What a brilliant turn there, and now the Tribute spawning positionally in favor of Naventic. They're going to be able to pick this up. 2 Tributes to 1 now. Gilly, oh my, the turns right there. McIntyre actually dwarf tossed into the team and still survived.
That is believing in the power of your team, the power of friendship to rotate in and have his back. Just barely getting out of there, but that was enough to get another kill, 4-1. But man, Cloud9 are doing such a great job of keeping up in the experience.
Yeah, they have done a very good job, but that is the beauty of the globals that they do have. They make a rotation in the upper lane, and I am surprised Naventic has managed to have the XP lead that they do, even going into this with all those globals. Giant Camp is going to be timed again, trying to apply pressure with the map objective, but realistically, when you have the globals that you do on the side of Cloud9, those don't typically gain too much value, sadly.
Yeah, the best thing you can hope for is that it makes your opponent a little late to the party with that, and you might be able to get a kill in the amount of time that one of those globals is taking out the mercenary camp. Now both teams about to get heroic abilities. Strafe, the choice for Vala, lots of area damage. Still considering for Uther, Divine Shield.
And Cloud9 now hitting 10 as well. No surprising heroics coming out from this team. Pretty much the standard across the board. They do have a tribute advantage for Naventic, and speaking of tributes, one is going to be spawning positionally in favor of Cloud9. Rotations are going to matter. Vala is a little bit slow here, taking a very safe route. Keep in mind, she will be behind a little bit. Falstad actually flying to try and catch up. Maybe if Dunk gets a little bit, be very, very quiet.
Oh, Pixie Dust makes sure that Dunk Train doesn't get hit by that hammering. The tribute is there, but they're split apart by the members of Naventic. Cloud9 trying just to get together. iDream on the other side of this, going to stall it out with the Banshees. Team Caffeine drawing in Fan with the force wall down behind him. Polymorph and do a lot of damage
Silencing
from the
arrows
Phoenix.
used.
And Fan now jumping on iDream, realizing that she is behind the wall, and Sylvanas will be the first blood in this fight as it rages on.
Straight producing a decent amount of damage there after Sylvanas has already managed to fall. Tribute is going to be captured here by Zuna. They are going to get a cursed. Giants are pushing in the top lane. That is something that must be addressed by Cloud9. I'm actually surprised Naventic actually didn't make the rotation to try and get a flank behind the fort. That is a common pattern that we see from coming out from them, but they're actually using their own bit of soak. I actually really like this call. So something a lot of people kind of maybe might not know about this map is that if you don't soak all the lanes, even if you have the curse, it essentially you'll be losing more XP than your opponent traditionally if you don't get more than 2 forts, but they're gonna dive it here for Naventic. Man, they are putting on a clinic this game. Other than losing 1 tribute at this point, they seem to be very much in control.
They are getting experience from the lanes, they're getting experience from structures, and they're even going to do so from some kills too. Naventic is on fire now with a level lead. looking to get their 13 talents, get that talent tier advantage. They've already brought down one fort. They have pushed the lanes in toward the other ones. And remember, there are 2 bosses available, and I see a convergence of blue team members up at that top.
Yeah, they are kind of posturing around. They're almost going to get the 13 talents here. I think they're going to be looking to get the fort. So now a standard thing that we always see coming out of the curse here is that teams are very worried about the boss typically. Usually it's more of a deny than anything just because positionally it is going to be accented, but it's not always going to be the case. 13 now picked up. I want to see if it's going to be a frost shots. No, it's going to be spell shield instead to be able to try and deal with the kill thoughts. Actually, that's something maybe they felt like they took Vala because she's one of the few that can take spell shield and it doesn't lose too much. Yeah. Maybe that was one of the options they decided to opt into her.
We'll see if that pays off for them. They are 13. They've picked up the spell shield as well as the rest of the talents. It's spell shield on Uther too.
Yeah.
So no shrink ray.
I do actually really like that, especially because they don't, outside of Kel'Thas, which you're probably out of position if you manage to get Shrink Ray on Kel'Thas.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where I actually really like that choice, but he is probably closing in here on his Mana Addict and will have a very good defensive tool here. Zuna's actually going to be epic fighting out at this point and going on to K1 Pro, getting it. The stun's going to come out. Brightwing's going to get the teleport, Gilly.
Yeah, and there's K1 Pro dropping pretty rapidly, shielding, keeping him alive for a bit, but McIntyre and the Stray bringing down not only Kel'Thas, but Brightwing too, and Dahaka's in trouble. Burrows down, trying just to get back into the range of his fort, maybe to stay alive. And Fan
with the B-step! Oh my goodness!
Oh, 3 people down. King Caffeine falling to the hungering arrow, and Naventic taking a commanding lead in this fight. You loved that, didn't you?
It doesn't get any better than that. Zuna with a great play, flying to the mid lane, completely capitalizing, wiping 3 people. Actually, we're going to be able to revisit this. So wiping 3 people to Strafe, doing an immense amount of damage. The pickup there coming in because of the lack of supports. But then, meanwhile, in the bottom lane, they're already destroying up here. He goes, guess what? I'm winning the 1v1 down below as well. And he lets you know by B-stepping you. I absolutely love that from them. Boss is going to be picked up here from Naventic. Not surprising considering they had a 4-man wipe at that point in time. Now, the boss isn't going to be doing that much. It's a 10-minute boss. It's not going to be that effective. But traditionally, that boss denial play that we were talking about is because it usually leads to a double boss play because the commitment of resources.
Absolutely. And that first boss goes to a fort. If they can get the second boss, that would go to a keep.
Yes.
And that's a lot of time where they can be soaking, they can get the next tributes, tie back up that tribute. It's nearly a full 2-level lead for Team Naventic. They could potentially, they're trying to get to 16, so they have a long window of time where they'll just completely run the entire map.
Yeah, and one thing I want to keep in mind as well, I always talk about this when you have the Illidan, how open is the map? So obviously Curse is a little bit more open than the rest, but top fort has already gone down. Mid fort on the side of Cloud9 is almost going down, and bottom is, well, it's, as you put it, they're sneezable level of forts here. And when those do go down, Illidan will be able to thrive even more. The flight there, because they are worried about the boss being taken, but they realized quickly that Night Camp was only where Cloud9 was going to be going.
So there's a tribute, once again, for Team Naventic. The next tribute, Naventic will be 16. Cloud9 have to get back into this experience game, but it's a problem. 10 kills to 1. Naventic, they know they're close. They have momentum after that last game. They really brought it back. They surprised Cloud9 with that very aggro composition, and there is 16, Dread.
They have achieved 16. Will we see any interesting talents coming out from these players? I want to know if it's going to be hard and focused or Benediction. Kenman has been adjusting to that. They do have pretty single target damage, so he is going to be worried about that here when it comes to his pickup here. But you did say it, 16 to advantage, Tribute's going to spawn. One thing to keep in mind, Tribute spawn in the bottom half. Cloud9's not going to be able to contest, and the boss is up on the upper half of the map. Are they going to opt in and take the boss instead? See, already teams are worried about this. Vala is now sitting down there and everybody's rotating up, but Cloud9 has showed on the upper half, so they're probably not going to worry about it. I'm surprised Zuna is not capping and then flying.
Oh, he's flying in.
They just want the fight
right away. iDream gets the phase shield from Dunk Train. They're going to go down to the bottom. They might have been able to isolate Zuna, but she's taking quite a bit of damage from the Lightning Rod. Drag, pulling Falstad in. Meanwhile, K1 Pro in the top gets taken out, the first one in there, and Zuna has stayed alive and is very, very healthy. King Caffeine running away, burrowing, waiting for his team to maybe get back, but they're getting farther and farther away. A second kill for Naventic.
And that is going to be a boss most likely going over to Naventic here. They're going to be actually not started. They're going to try and deny. I don't know if they can make this rotation. Keep in mind, Sylvanas was not able to disable dismount Muradin, so not getting the positioning there. Will McIntyre sniff out Arthlon? I don't think it's going to be the case. He will be able to get the free back there. Oh man. Naventic in such a pretty spot, 12 kills to 1. All I gotta say is I'm glad I took that wristband off.
Yeah, it's looking pretty scary for Cloud9 for sure. They haven't lost any keeps though. They're almost to 16. They could win a big team fight and try to start turning this around, but they're facing down a really scary game for them. There's no keeps down. There's no forts down for Team Naventic. Already a boss has been taken. They're on the back foot in the lanes. They really need to make something happen here with these 16s.
They really do, and a great job, I want to say, from Naventic. You see them constantly checking that boss to make sure their opponents aren't there, even when a giant camp's taken elsewhere. And typically, you wouldn't worry about that, but because the globals, like Brightwing, can secure the camp on her own and teleport, essentially fanning positioning. So I love that they've been able to control that so well, especially now that they are closing in another curse here. This is the fight. And I mean that in the sense that this is where Cloud9, if they fail this fight, this game is going to snowball so hard in favor of Naventic. I mean, obviously it already kind of is a little bit, but this is very much, if they do not do well, they could like game losing fighting here, so.
Right, because there's boss up.
Oh my goodness, what was that?
Sylvanas gets caught, and here comes Fan. Gets hit by the Wailing Arrow though. Divine Shield at least used, but that allows Illidan to get right back into the fight. The Mighty Gust throwing people against the wall. Chaos Thoughts drops. Brightwing will follow. King Caffeine.
Fan will survive.
Somehow survives.
So this is a situation where you start the boss before you collect the trivia, because it puts it in a situation where you gain maximum value out of the boss, and it's going to be sieging up. But actually, while we do this, we're going to have a small replay happening here. And look at right out the gates, the position coming up from iDream, obviously leading to the death, but look at Zuna below. Barrel roll, gust into the wall. Where are you going to be going with that one, ladies and gentlemen? An immense amount of damage, and look at Van, barely going to be able to survive the cleanse there and the dash out as well.
If I were to Hawk, I would not want to unburrow there.
I mean, that was
in the middle of Naventic.
It was pretty awkward, you know?
Oh, so awkward. 16 will
Look at him diving! Constantly, the false sense of security of the keep. I don't know if you remember this, Cloud9, but you, in fact, are cursed. Man, second time in a row, Sylvanas just face-checking 1 versus 5 here.
The boss still hasn't even gotten to this point.
They have 20. It's a 4-level lead at this point. They're posturing to go for the court. The 3-man gravity lapse, though!
The gravity lapse was insane! The wind tunnel pushes back the members of Cloud9. They don't get anything off of it. Kinma gets hit by the Phoenix, but still, full boss on the court. Shields dropping rapidly. Have they done it? Is this it? Is Naventic just 16-minute win this? They take out Volstad.
Is this risky?
Is this a throw, or is it, did they get it?
It's going to be it. The boss is going down. Fan is so great at being able to kill the core, man. What for a best of 5 series? Naventic literally goes, hey, I'm sorry we let you have that. We wanted to play with our food a little bit there for a second. We're going to smash in that final game.
Look how happy they are. Naventic take the victory in the final game of the best of 5. It was hard fought, but they win over Cloud9 in convincing fashion.
That was a smash. And after the first tribute, from that point on, they were just like, how can we be aggressive? And I talked about that was the team fight moment. And Sylvanas just managed to walk into 5 people. They were like, yeah, we'll take this, I guess.
There they are, your champions, Team Naventic, shaking hands with Cloud9. Very good friends. These teams are great friends.
Yeah.
We saw them hanging out right before the match started. And man, they really brought it to each other down to the wire. It was much different than our series with the Green Regional, where I believe it was just a 3-1 there. Naventic only getting 1 game away from Cloud9, but just showing how close these teams are, both in friendship but in skill.
Yeah, it's just amazing to watch these two go head-to-head every single time that we watch them. And I mean, once you got Toronto out of the hands of Cloud9, it felt like Naventic had something to play with there. I am very glad to see that they were able to make that adjustment in this best of 5 here and be able to deal with it. But I mean, just friendship, competition, everything between these two, I just love everything about it. I am glad to see Naventic succeed. I mean, I pretty much bet every single time on them, except for 1 game where I put on the wristband. Forgive me, Naventic. But it was just really well done between these. So
there they are, your champions, Team Naventic! Hard-fought victory, but holding the trophy high, knowing that with that victory, they claim...
He's faking that he dropped it. Oh, man.
They get the top seed from North America.
Yeah.
That's huge. First place prize. Nothing shabby either. Absolutely fantastic.
Great scenes here from Austin, Texas for DreamHack All-Stars as Naventic secure themselves quite the victory in the end. And so much to say, so much to say. It was a stomp in that last game, but I mean, J-How, I didn't have much faith in the solo Dahaka. I underestimated the power of how much the Valor was going to bring to the table, I believe.
did too.
It brought a lot. It brought a lot.
When I was back there looking at the draft, when you knew that the last 2 picks were going to be a support and a warrior, maybe that's where that Valor pick came in, because they went straight into that Hungry and Arrow build, and that was eating people alive there on Valor.
Especially with Dahaka. I mean, any form of isolation, you'll be able to get a lot of procs onto them and do a lot of damage there. And then the Strafe, when they try to get a response there with the double support, pseudo support, not too great against the amount of damage that she has in the output. So it was a really great pickup there.
What a rivalry that's developed between these 2 teams. It's a friendly rivalry, but think about it. Heroes Rising, Naventic wins in a 3-2 series. Spring Regionals, Cloud9 wins 3-1. Now we're back to this Summer Regional, the first of 2, and Naventic pulls back that title. They've just been trading these wins back and forth. It makes me really excited to see what the second regional will bring.
Yeah.
I just love Naventic, the fact that they're playing so many heroes. They're even rotating who's playing who. I mean, this is the sign of skilled team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they are the most flexible team in this region to the degree where it's actually successful. Of course, there could be other flexible teams being able to switch it on around, but their skill transcends even just singular roles. We do have replays, obviously, for game number 5 here. J-How, why don't you take us through
this right here? Look at the play from Fan. He's going in. You're going to see the return fire coming in here. We'll slow it down. Look on the left here. Look on the left. Fan instantly hops over to iDream. That is a play that nobody else is making right there, Drit.
Yeah, and actually using the evasion kept him alive there, not going to be able to take that damage. And past that point, that was like the start of a snowball. It was like, that was like, what, kill number 2? And then from then on, they were just like, oh, it turns out we can just kill them.
Yeah.
When I saw that hop over the wall, you knew instantly they were on top of their game. That is a killer play right there, Gillen.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And yeah, it turned from like a 2-1 to a 20-1.
Like,
Super fast.
I think not only did I underestimate Valor, I also underestimated Big E's use of Strafe during all of this. I believe we have a second actual replay coming up here, J-How. So let's go through this one.
Yeah, this is one more towards the end as we do see this, and that is where Sylvanas got caught out. And it was all, we actually covered this in the instant replay, but as we look at it a little bit slower, Fan, once again, Divine Shield coming out here, stays alive by the skin of his teeth. The Mighty Gust comes out, and the Gravity Labs in return, things are going back and forth. And you see this, the kills starting to be secured. The burrow there, Dahaka's just coming back up, but only to die, but Fan manages to survive there.
There was always the question of, when they bring in Big E, how would this be? And I think that question's been answered, guys. Here is the trophy, and its holder, it's Zuna. I'm gonna move my
Indeed.
box over.
Oh.
Hello, Zuna. Please place your trophy upon the desk. Is it heavy? No? Oh, okay, okay. I hold the microphone nice and close as well.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Congratulations, Zuna, as well as Naventic, for being victorious here. Quite the victory. Actually, do the bits in the middle of that trophy rotate? Now that I look at it, does it move?
Oh, nice.
It moves.
Snaps.
I didn't even know that.
I kind of want it now.
Yeah.
I was like, man, you can have it, but now I kind of want it.
Exactly, exactly. Obviously, coming into this, it went all the way against Cloud9. Did you anticipate it going all the way? And also a follow-up question to that was, after Game 3, how were the nerves in the team?
I'm not gonna lie, I felt like I played super good games 1 through 3, and we were still losing. So like, I got tilted pretty hard, and I just said, you know what? I just can't carry on a tank. Give me a better character. And I played KT and Falstad.
Your kill thoughts was actually insane.
It was incredible.
Like, it was
the
insane.
Falstad.
Yeah, well, the thing is like, I think lots of people don't understand with KT, if you don't have a stun tank, which everyone relies on, you have to throw stuns from Fog.
Yeah.
And I think I pretty much do that more than anyone else.
I want to follow up on that in particular. We saw the rotations from you guys. Obviously, the hero pool from you in particular is very deep, and everybody on your team is extremely flexible. Whose call is that to start rotating who's going to be on what hero? Was that something that you felt out of frustration that was necessary, or did it just fit what you guys were trying to accomplish?
It just came down to, we're already 2 games down, it's the last game, and I just feel like what we were doing wasn't working, and I just said, give me the damage. I can't carry on a tank. I'll carry on the damage. We're still playing good. We're making mistakes, but I just feel like if I have something stronger, just a little bit stronger, we can do it, and then we pulled it out. But it feels good because when I was on Tempo Storm, we versed C9, and they lost to us in group stage like we did, and then they ran it back game 5 just like we did.
Yeah,
So
I got a real quick question.
It was a mirror, almost.
I know we got some follow-up. Does that mean that you're going to be moving back off of Warrior, or do you see yourself going forward on that Warrior player?
it's not for anything. I'm down to play whatever.
All right.
That's the main thing. I'm a true flex player, I guess. I play every role, so whatever the team
I think
needs.
it fits your guys' strengths. I think that you are, because you are so versatile in this instance, that it makes you guys unpredictable and very, very strong against almost anything that can come out. So I really like that you actually have this kind of flex. Do you guys have questions over there?
So you guys take the first seed, the #1 seed from North America, going to DreamHack in Sweden. You get to go to the Summer Global Championship as the #1 team from North America. How does that feel for you and your team?
It feels really good because when I was on Tempo Storm, we were second, and then when I was on Naventic the first time, we were second. So being first actually feels really good. All the hard work we put in, I think this last few months, I probably have over 100 games played, and the worst part is they're all tanks. I haven't played Faustet or KT in months, but sometimes you just gotta let it rip.
Muscle memory, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of your 7 games against Cloud9, I bet on you 6 of them, and I wanted to know if you can forgive me for the one game that I put on the wristband and said I felt like Cloud9 would win.
You know what, Dredd? I forgive you.
Thank you.
Just because you're my Tempo brother.
No, don't do this. Just throw him under the bus. Throw him under the bus.
Well, beforehand, he did say, I still believe in you.
Okay.
And then he lost hope. But not everyone lost hope, and that's what matters.
He did put a wristband on.
I took it off instantly.
After they lost.
You should burn it.
After they
6
lost.
out of
Yes,
7
thank
games.
you.
How many times do you support Zuna out of those 7 games?
I know how many times I did, Dredd.
I can't remember.
How many?
All.
Oh!
Except for maybe one.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
By accident.
I'm not even from this region. I can disappear and escape and no one will attack me, so it's okay.
You're not wrong.
Take me with you.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I'm coming to Sweden.
Oh, yeah, damn. All right, well, I mean, other questions?
I'm actually curious, when we talk about the first seed going to Worlds, you guys didn't have the best showing going to Worlds. You guys have made a little bit of a roster change, bringing big impact on. I want to just know like how you see yourself. It's going to be a month and a half from now. You've got another regional. How do you see the team now going into Worlds after what you've seen and experienced the first time this year during the Spring Championship?
I think NA as a region has been improving. Like you can just see it where us and C9, like usually NA only had 2 top teams. We're struggling against the other teams. Like they actually take games from us, and like it's not just us and C9 in the grand finals always. So it's a huge step for all the teams in NA. And the better they get, the better it helps us. And we go to the other regions. It's just everyone's getting better. So anything can happen.
It's great to watch.
Well, thank you very much, Zuna. And once again, a huge congratulations for crowning yourselves the champions here, as we now check in with the brackets to conclude what has gone on down the line, as Gale Force eSports fell to Naventic, and Naventic moved on to the grand finals. From there downwards, we had Cloud9 moving on against Cognitive to face off against Naventic in the finals. It was down to the wire. It went all the way to 5 games, but Naventic were able to iron out the creases and find themselves as the victors. What a day of games. What a weekend of games. Quickly, a highlight, anybody? What do we have? Very quickly.
I just want to highlight on what Zuna just said. The storylines behind this entire event from teams from all 8 teams. Newcomers, teams with roster changes, teams that have been through some turmoil, Cloud9 struggling, Naventic coming in, dropping some here towards Cloud9. I just feel like the overall storyline, we couldn't have had a better DreamHack going to game number 5, Gilly.
Right, we could not have had a better DreamHack going to game number 5 in the grand finals. And between Cloud9 and Naventic, getting to see that rivalry continue, getting to be a part of that, that was my highlight for sure. No doubt.
Mine is the strength of Toronto and Task.
Yeah.
Always the drafting.
Why is that so weird?
Former support player?
He loves it.
What?
He
It's just, sadly, I don't get my hands on those. I only played like the true supports most of the time since they're usually doubled up. I know, it's so sad. But just like the amount of strength and influence they had in the entire tournament and then moving into the grand finals, literally being first pick, first ban for almost every game.
Game changer.
It was not what I expected coming into this tournament.
What a tournament as well. What a tournament, showing that America does have a deep, deep pool, especially moving on forward. That wraps things up for DreamHack All-Stars here. A huge thanks to the production in the back. A huge thanks to all of you guys as well.
And our observers.
And our observers,
Yes.
and obviously Mr. Jake and Zoya, who aren't currently here at the desk as well. A big thank you to everyone tuning in. Don't forget, next weekend we have DreamHack Tour coming up over in France for another Europe regional, which I'm sure we'll all be seeing you there as well. Bye for now. Tune in to more Heroes Esports very, very soon.